Hello everybody and welcome to another summertime edition of Speakeasy Cocktails, where I teach you how to make some of the most refreshing cocktails that history left behind. I'm your host Joe the bartender, and today I'm going to teach you all there is to know about the Georgia Julep. I know what you're probably thinking. A mint julep is not a forgotten cocktail. They're made by the gallon at Kentucky Derbies and Southern bars, but the julep has a much more elaborate history than most people realize. And the modern day mint julep is very different than the original Georgia julep. The term julep started way back in 1634 when John Milton wrote a short poem detailing the first julep. It was a non-alcoholic rosewater-based drink used for medicinal purposes and did not have any mint. In the 18th century, julep became a term for any sweetened cocktail containing brandy, gin, or rum, but still no mint. In 1803, mint was added to the julep, and gin was removed due to gin losing popularity in England and thus not being exported as much, and rum declined in popularity in the cocktail because cognac and brandy had become in vogue at bars. In 1809, the book Knickerbocker's History of New York was published, and thus the phrase mint julep was coined. In 1850, Senator Henry Clay from Kentucky introduced the mint julep to his new and increasingly popular Willard Hotel in Washington, D.C., using the most popular thing from his constituency, bourbon whiskey. His recipe was very similar to the one we know today, but still had a few odd ingredients, such as rosewater. In 1887, the popularity of the bourbon variant he had introduced had actually damaged the reputation of the julep in the bartender community, as it had lost most, if not all, of its original roots. Because of this, the popularity of the drink greatly dropped. By 1910, the mint julep was declared dead, due in no small part to several distinguished journals openly bashing the julep as a terrible drink. It wasn't until recently, in this last century, that the 1850 recipe came back in style. The recipe I'm going to teach you today, however, is the first recipe that called for mint from the 1839 book, A Diary in America by Frederick Marryat. This is a delicious, sweet, and refreshing cocktail that is perfect for these warm summer days we have ahead of us. To make this cocktail, you're going to need the following things. Fresh mint leaves. They can be bought at any grocery store near you. Sugar. Superfine works best for cocktails as it dissolves easier. Water. Cognac. Any unflavored cognac will do. Peach brandy. This has become increasingly popular lately, so it shouldn't be too hard to find. Unfortunately, modern-day peach brandy is a lot sweeter than the original predecessor, so just half the quantity for this recipe to match the original flavor profile. Pineapple. You'll actually need a wedge and not the juice. First thing you're going to want to do is grab whatever glass you're making the cocktail in and add the mint. The original cocktail calls for 12 sprigs, but use whatever you feel comfortable with. Next, take a bar spoon and add sugar to whatever your taste preferences are. And then you're going to add a splash of water. After that, you're going to want to lightly muddle the cocktail, not enough to really bruise the mint, but just enough to get some of the oils out. After that, you want to add 2 ounces of cognac. Today I'm using Hennessy, as it's probably one of the more popular cognac brands. And then 2 ounces of peach brandy. Today I'm using a house infusion they make here at Pascal's, but there are several publicly available, such as Paul Masson. After both of those are added, you're going to want to add plenty of shaved ice. And then you want to shake until the cocktail gets nice and frosty. If you're using a metal tumbler or a silver glass like I'm using, you'll notice frost start to accumulate on the outside of the glass. And once you're done with that, garnish it with another sprig of mint. After that, you take a pineapple and you run it along the rim of the glass. And this is completely optional, but it is called for in the original recipe. And there you have it, the original 1839 Georgia Julep. Until next time, I'm your host Joe the bartender, and I'll see you in the Speakeasies. Whew, painfully refreshing.